head coach's son, honored today of his life in Caleb Wilson's absence. And both Trimble and Elijah Davis off a home in over Louisville on Saturday. Get the first shot, and it rattles in and out from Butta Johnson. It will be Carolina ball as signal. Aaron Stevenson and Henry Vessar off a career-high tying 26. Trimble with the first shot for the heels, and of course, he drains it from the... Dylan Hunter for Clemson. Porter and Johnson, the guards. R.J. Godfrey, their leading scorer, along with Carter Welling, part of this stable of Clemson.
Will ultimately determine how they can stay in this game.
Vessar in a double team feeds Dixon. That three is good for the freshman. There's Hunter for Clemson. Snapped a 4-game losing streak Saturday and looks like a real secure tournament team around the 8-9 range.
They're going to get a lot of jump shots off those pick and rolls, considering that North Carolina plays it in drop coverage.
Johnson off a rare Tar Heel turnover finishes with a on senior day. Davis, who is a walk-on, who typically would only come in at the end of a blowout, gets a pretty special moment, Jay, to play the first 2 minutes. On
going through the developmental process says a lot about their commitment to being better each and every day.
There's Vessar, who's got his first two. Into Vessar against Godfrey. Big versus big. Vessar's shot is too strong and claimed by Johnson.
Well, I think exactly how they're playing it. The ball needs to touch the post, and Vessar needs to read and react, but he needs to make quick decisions.
Tigers, one of the more deliberate teams in the league. Get a good look. Welling, not a great three-point shooter
here in the Sweet 16 in 2018, and he's been able to get the most out of a lot of these mid-majors.
That's a nightmare he's had for a
major advantage to a team who had a top 4 seed.
Here's Ace Buckner for Clemson, which was 10-1. Davidson slips in for 2. Biggs. Vessar out of the game. And Luka Bogovic travels.
Full defensive rotation by Clemson. The Tar has a sense of urgency, and everybody's pointing and communicating. Tough shot.
High rebounds. It didn't realize.
To understand how refs are calling the games, if they're calling hand checking, if they're calling a little grabbing, or if they're allowing you, it's a tic-tac game. So each game has closed down. They recognize that North Carolina is in drop coverage, and every ball screen, they just have to be patient.
There's high over the top. Jonathan Powell on the ball guarding him. Has been good off the bench of late. Davidson rattles in it.
With the pick and pop scenario in which they play the PNRs, their bigs just have to knock it down for them to win this game. Good pass.
Vessar to high for
Think about the slam dunk by Jerry Stackhouse. Just the incredible moments that Jay Billis always says it, and he's correct. For shooting around today, looked pretty good, dribbling that ball with his left hand. I had to call the Louisville game last week, and he literally came by the desk. I will see you on Saturday at Duke, Carolina.
Now, did he mean he will physically see you? As Welling finishes for 2. Stevenson, it's a Clemson 5-on-3. And it's actually a pretty good foul by Evans in that circumstance. Evans, by the way, picked up his second foul. Vessar's on the bench with 2. Evans stays in with 2 and defends a shot of Hunter. Here's Trimble hit the first 3 of the game. Hasn't scored since. And he draws a foul on the drive. Carter Welling was the WAC Defensive Player of the Year last year at Utah Valley. As Trimble hits the first 2. Preseason poll. This will be the 13th time in 16 years under Brad Brownell. When will the voters learn? Godfrey banks it. Their senior, R.J. Godfrey, to bring the Tigers within 1. Stevenson attacks and is by 6 and have got on a 10-2 run since. High in the post. One dribble and rolls it out. Welling. Hard charging into Stevenson, who bodies him up. Welling can't convert.
Several triples. He's a difference maker for them offensively.
It's 4 for 8. All 16 in the second half as Powell has the steal. Powell is denied by Johnson.
The paint is going to be critical here. Clemson just dominating the paint, 12-6 thus far.
And he kicks for Trimble. Would have been Vessar's 4th start. Godfrey and Porter. Here's R.J. Godfrey, leading scorer, 11.5 a game. So kept that foot down free right now as Porter dribbles near the logo. Welling's open for three. He's missed a couple. He's missed another.
Books from their bigs. That's what Brad Brownell talked about earlier today, just not being able to knock him down.
SR long two. It's good. His final game in Chapel Hill in his first Tar Heel season.
Godfrey needs to look at the basket. There you go.
SR with the 2 fouls with 7 to shoot. Around the corner. Godfrey steps out on Trimble. Physical Clemson big. Made it a tough shot, and Welling.
That was position.
Dixon for three. Bangs it home.
They talk about a guy that shoots the ball with confidence and can extend the defense with that range. That's who Dixon is. Godfrey with YU and AJ DeBonsa. The guy has to be a volume shooter. Has to really put that team on his back.
Bogavant strokes a three, and Carolina read it off of Johnson. Back from Bogavant. A little helter-skelter action for Carolina. Trimble way off the mark on a three.
You know, Besar is closing out strong every time, leaving his feet. You can utilize a head fake and attack the rim.
Dixon well short. Besar will screen for Bogavant. His last shot, by the way, was originally called a 2. Then changed to a 3. That's a 2. 8 straight for the Tar Heels with 2 or so to go in the first half. Davidson.
There you go. It's open.
Heels with 2 first half fouls. Those 2 and Evans. Powell for 3. Way too strong. Final home game in Carolina blue. Stevenson.
Clemson is so good at containing those.
From last year's group, which was a 5 seed. A historic year in the ACC, 18-2. Johnson strokes a deep 2. Johnson, long 3 is good. And from Butta Johnson gives Clemson the lead into the locker room.
So Seth Trimble needs to attack, and he needs to be the spark for this team in the second half.
SR missed a 3 to start the half. R.J. Godfrey with a team-high elections against the Tigers. Besar here will slam it. Godfrey went to ground, and Besar with 3 assists as well. But a lot of the half with 2 fouls. Godfrey tries to answer, and he does over Besar.
Shoot off your block. He's able to find different angles to finish at the rim.
There's Jared Stevenson for 3. But he had 2 assists, no turnovers. Justin Porter with a little runner off the back rim, and Welling at 5. Again, they clinch a double bye in the ACC tournament with a win. North Carolina would need 1 more result as Welling denies, blocks it away. Off the takeaway, Bogavant. Buries the 3. Porter. 5 to shoot for Welling. Has to go. And Stevenson found more highly of his special freshman. Godfrey in the paint. On the kick. Welling at 3. Welling buries it. Besar inside for 2. Trimble pulls it out for Besar. Trimble driving. Foul, and he'll shoot 2. And here's Trimble off the Dixon takeaway.
Just doesn't happen any longer in today's game. The transfer portal has really diminished tradition. About RJ Alter, one of the most complete careers this program has ever seen. Second in scoring, the all-time leader in 3-pointers.
We'll need a Miami win in its final 2 games, or a Carolina win, or a Clemson loss. So it's not secure, but for Carolina is you want the double bye, win, and see what happens after that. Davidson hits Stevenson up high. Foul for the contact to the face. Ron Groover will come over and detail a little bit more with Jay. Stevenson 6 points. It's Clemson-esque balance for Carolina tonight. Bogavant's driving after 3 threes. Stevenson. Hunter for 2. Another tough shot for Hunter. Stevenson active again, grabs the rebound. I guess you don't want to poke him in the eye. Whoa, Welling sends it into the... Dixon, Trimble, Bogavant. with a jab step. Bogavats rebounded by Stevenson. And here's Clemson with Ace Buckner in the game, and Buckner fouled by Dixon. And everybody in Carolina Blue. Here's Hunter. Tough night for him. 0 for 4. Welling, 3. Welling, got it. Brad Brownell said our bigs are going to have to make shots. Apparently he's kept their confidence up as Buckner rolls it in, and Clemson just like that. Here's Godfrey. 5 straight for Clemson after the 12-0 run. Johnson. Tough. Powell. Somebody's going to get it up. Powell's going to get it up. Drew the iron, and it falls. Clemson bludgeoned Carolina in Clemson, 85-65. Hunter still has not scored. It's hot. Vessar back on the floor. As Godfrey charges into him and gets it. So he was in Brad Brownell's office. He was crying. He told him it was a business decision. And then after a year there, decided to come back to Clemson. And ball down 1. Buckner on the floor with Godfrey, Welling, Johnson, and Porter. Shot to the chin for Welling. Evans driving.
There's just a lot of contact with him.
5'11 and 3/4.
You're not 5'11, Kevin.
I'm 5'11 and 3/4. Godfrey.
Wow.
He's taller than 5'11 and 3/4. Regular season college game, he is 9 for 10. Vessar, there's a touch, and there's a Carolina lead.
If you're a Carolina, Vessar has to meet the challenge.
Hunter. Godfrey's already hit 1, and he's hit 2. That's called around down to Trimble. Maybe a rare chance to run for the heels. Here's Evans. In and out.
The amount of physicality here is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm glad these refs not do that on that last possession. What hands? That's a jump ball.
Godfrey tied him up, and Clemson has the arrow. Got to get Vessar more touches here.
I think you have to.
And he hands off to Bogavats to tie the game. Sit on the run, stripped by Buckner. Davidson tried to call timeout, but he was already out of bounds.
The second time
in Clemson history. 2 critical ones tonight. Vessar fouled by Davidson, and he'll shoot.
You were finding your defensive and offensive rhythm at the right time.
1 for 2 for Vessar. Welling with another 3. Bogavats attacking, stepping back. Oh! Tough make! Celebration. And then in stern defensive coaching, Godfrey denied by Vessar. 1 more basket, and this place is really going to go berserk.
Get him again.
Buckner. Around the Welling screen. Buckner couldn't get it to go.
And he'll have a mid-range jump shot if he can just recognize what the defense is giving him.
Here's Bogavats. He's free. It's good! You can see this out.
Brad is losing his mind. They just did not execute on an ATO. That is not the shot they got drawn up during the break.
Time. Here's Bogavats. He's hit 6 threes. And Buckner rebound.
Driving to the screen. So Trimble just pushing up into him.
Johnson over Bogavats. A really tough 2. And then it was Trimble on a tough shooting senior night. Buries a big 2. Defensively. Deep 3, Buckner. He rattles it home.
Big shot. Godfrey, he's been so good on the block. He should just take his time.
That's exactly what they do. Godfrey digging. Godfrey. It's been Bogavats' night. Johnson's out on him. Vessar screens. Bogavats too deep. Stevenson and the senior Seth Trimble. Dixon with a 3. Got it!
First make the free throws first.
And he did. He just put in his first point of the game. And he's 2
Now
for 2.
going to your press.
Clemson down by 3.
They're going to take a 3. They can't get into it.
Now Hunter will go around Bogavats. 1-point game. 1 for North Carolina. Lead, Luka Bogavats. It's good. To the game for Carolina, scores the last point. 67-63. North Carolina.